Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. It's great to be back. We're just like the Texans defense. We're a little banged up. We're really good, though. We're coming back. We're pulling through. Our offense is slacking a little bit, but we're coming back fighting, and we're winning. That's the big thing. We're winning. We're winning here. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on this Friday?
I'm really good. I'm glad you're back healthy again here, Nate.
We're still fighting. We're still fighting.
Yeah. So ready to go. And sorry we missed you the last couple shows, but we're ready to go tonight.
Yeah, we got a big one. Week 12. This is a big one. A lot of really key matchups now. Chiefs, could they be in? Could they be out? There's only a 15% chance if they lose to the Colts, since 1990, that they'll make the playoffs. 43% if they do win the game. So a lot to talk about, a lot of big-time games. But this one was a shocker. I want to jump right into it with last night's game between the Houston Texans and the Buffalo Bills, because the Bills fell yet again to what I'm calling an inferior opponent, because the Buffalo Bills, they lost in big fashion to Davis Mills, the backup quarterback, and the Houston Texans. Josh Allen had a couple really bad interceptions, one on the final drive, driving late time play, threw it away basically. He was trying to get a pass interference, but it was actually on his own guy. It was a really, really bad look for the Buffalo Bills, who fall yet another game behind the Patriots, who are seemingly running away with the AFC East. Hey, Davis Mills, 3-0 as the backup to C.J. Stroud when he came in for relief. So my question to you is, overall, how shocking do you think that this win was for the Houston Texans?
My summary on this game: 3 turnovers and 8 sacks contribute to the loss by the Bills. The Texans are on a 3-game winning streak led by Davis Mills. The pressure on Allen was too much. He had threw 2 interceptions, as you mentioned, one on the last play of the game. The 8 sacks, most in Allen's career. He was hit 4 other times, so he was under a lot of pressure. I think that contributed more to the mistakes that he made than just a bad play by him. And he's had more interceptions this year, many more than he had last year. I think it's more about the offensive line than it is about him. So, on 4th and 27, the Bills got a 44-yard play on a short pass to Palmer and a lateral to Shakir. That was a really exciting play. We thought they were out of it at that point. 4th down, 27 to go. They managed to get that play done, but then they got into another 4th down situation at the end of the game, and that's when Allen threw the interception. The Texans are doing it with the defense. Will Anderson, 6th straight game with at least 1 sack. And Davis Mills coming off the bench, winning 3 games in a row. It'll be interesting to see if they continue to hold Stroud out. You'd think he'd be recovered by now after 3 weeks with the concussion protocol. But we'll have to wait and see whether they stick with Davis Mills for a while longer while they're on this winning streak. Ray Davis for the Bills, a 97-yard kickoff return right after the Texans scored a field goal. On the stats, Mills, a solid game, 16 of 30, 2 touchdowns. Marks, their running back, 16 for 74. Nico Collins, 3 catches for 56 yards. On the other side, Allen, his stats were okay except for the interceptions, and he didn't throw a touchdown. He didn't run for one this time. And he got sacked 8 times, 24 of 34, 253 yards. Cook continues to have very good games, 17 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. And Shakir, eight receptions for 110 yards. So the stats look good for the Bills, but the mistakes cost them. And I think it's their offensive line was not up to the task against the Texans defense, which I guess maybe you could say is one of the 1 or 2 best in the league right now.
Well, I think that this is I would say surprising win. I think shocking is a little bit too much. Point spread was 5.5, and with the Texans defense playing as well as it has throughout this entire season, I took the plus 5.5 just because I thought Bills really a lackluster coming off they just blew out the Buccaneers, but the game before losing in devastating fashion on the road in Miami, that was a terrible, terrible loss. So I thought that this game could be close, especially with the Texans allowing the fewest points per game in the NFL right now. But I got to give a lot of props to Davis Mills. He was supposed to be their franchise guy, and ultimately they picked up C.J. Stroud after Mills couldn't do the job. But coming in, going 3-0, and winning some of the games that he has won. You're talking about look at against the Jaguars, going all the way back at one point down 29-10, coming all the way back, diving for the end zone for what ultimately ended up being the game-winning touchdown, and then big man Sheldon Rankins got the fumble return touchdown at the very end of the game to seal the point spread. But this was a massive win. Will Anderson, you know why they traded back up into the first round to go get him as high as they did. He's been an absolute beast. And then acquiring Danielle Hunter, they were all over the place last night. Josh Allen, I've said this before in the past, and I'll repeat it again. Josh Allen could be Superman in one game. He just was last week, 6 total touchdowns. The last person to do that, Otto Graham back in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. That's the last time someone had 6 total touchdowns. We're talking about 3 passing, 3 rushing with that number. Josh Allen can be Superman for a game or 2, maybe 5 throughout a year. You can't do it for a full NFL season. This team needs him to be Superman every single game in order for them to succeed, because you have to look at it. The offensive line has regressed badly. He's getting sacked on 3rd down at the highest rate of his career so far, and it's really not even that close. We're talking about an offensive line that allowed pressures on single-digit percentages last season. We're talking about an offensive line that was truly dominant last year, and now it's a shell of itself. We're talking about an offense that James Cook was the lightning bolt last year, running all over the place. And while he's had some pretty good games here and there, he's never really popped onto the scene like he did last year. He's taken maybe a half step back. Josh Allen needs to do everything. Keon Coleman dealing with off-the-field issues, being late to meetings and stuff like that. They need him on the field because right now you have Ty Johnson, the backup running back, being your number 2 receiver. You can't have that. Khalil Shakir, he was banged up in this game. You know what? He plowed through. Ended up being the leading receiver for this one. You're throwing to 2nd and 3rd string tight ends because Kincaid is out. You're losing offensive linemen in the game. The injuries are piling up. Defense, you're always dealing with something. And the reason why I've said this in the past and I'll say it again. I shut this Bills Super Bowl window down years ago because as long as Sean McDermott is your head coach, I really don't think this team will ever get far. He's the Mark Jackson of the Golden State Warriors. You could bring your team up to a certain place, but you can never get him over the hump. You bring Steve Kerr in, he tweaks just one thing here or there, then all of a sudden, you're winning championships. And I think that's desperately what the Bills need. Joe Brady's offense has become rather stale. We're talking about a team that has done pretty well in the red zone. They had 2 plays in the red zone. 2! That's unacceptable. And a team that's relatively good on 3rd down, what were they, 5 of 16 on 3rd down? That's not terrible. But, this defense, Sean McDermott, we talked about this with Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley should have been fired a year or 2 before he actually was. And when you look at it, we look at what a coach's primary positional situation is. Belichick, defensive coach. Kyle Shanahan, offensive coach. If all of a sudden Kyle Shanahan's offenses get boring and he doesn't call defense, what are you going to do? You got to figure out, unless you have a great offensive coordinator, your offense is going to be lackluster. You're not doing what you were sort of called on to do. Sean McDermott's defenses have fallen apart year after year after year. They couldn't get an offensive line for the longest time. Then they did. They haven't gotten a running game for the longest time. Then they did. Not so much this year. Their defenses have been up and down so many times. I mean, that's really what's holding this team back is just a consistent defense. And Josh Allen has to be Superman every single game. And if that is the case, if Josh Allen has to go out there and has to score 5-6 total touchdowns a game, there's a shot you're not winning many games the rest of the year. You need to have some sort of a balanced game. And you talk about, well, if you have a running game, to me, it's your quarterback has to do everything. And this is the one thing I hate about Josh Allen. He always tries to make the Superman play on every play because he feels like he has to. When you're down and out, he's trying to make the big 30, 40-yard play. And then Joe Brady is kind of trying to tone that in, but now it's all dink and dunks and short yardage plays, which really you could capitalize. You're gaining 2-3 yards. All of a sudden, you're in a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. That's a great opportunity for a Texans defense that's number 1 in the league.
Oh, they have a decent running game. They have a good running game with Cook.
But they're not winning the games they should.
But their pass defense is what's lacking. They can't protect Allen. They got sacked 8 times against arguably one of the best, maybe the best defense in the league right now, particularly with Will Anderson, the way he's playing and the sacks he's getting in every game. So it was a measuring stick for the Bills, and they came up short. I think they're playing inconsistently. They're losing to a team like the Dolphins. And then they beat the Chiefs. They blow out the Jaguars. They lose to the Texans.
They didn't play the Jaguars.
Oh, it was a blowout. Was last week was
Buccaneers.
I'm sorry. And now they look like an inconsistent team. They're 2.5 games behind the Patriots. Patriots win against Cincinnati this weekend. They'll be behind by 3 games with not that many left to play. So 7 games left to play.
I believe
for them. Was that week 12 for them?
This one, yes.
Yeah. So they have 5 games left.
Oh no, this is their 11th game.
11th
7
game.
and 4.
So they have 6 games left. So I don't know. Doesn't look so good for the Bills right now. That's my view.
Well, my problem is the offensive line has. I mean, some of the sacks I'm actually going to put on Josh Allen because one of them late in the game, he literally stepped up into the defense. That's not on the offensive line. Did the offensive line get beat? Yeah, but if Josh Allen literally runs into the defender, that kind of falls on him, and not using his incredible athleticism. And I actually want him to run more. He only had 5 carries. He was banged up in this game. He got hit really badly from behind. He was grabbing his hand basically all game. So that maybe hindered some of his willingness to run. But this is a bad Josh Allen game. I'm going to put some on him just because that you're the quarterback. You handle the ball in every play. You had a really bad interception late, but you had to make a play on 4th down. Deion Dawkins had a bad false start. You were at 4th and 1. They had to go back up, all the way after the false start. And I will say this, the offensive line, again, you have some veterans there, but also you lost Spencer Brown in this game, right tackle, and you were just getting cooked on the outside. Defensively, Joey Bosa is your best pass rusher. Trent Brown allowed 0 pressures on Joey Bosa. I think that's the first time all year Joey Bosa hasn't been able to get a pressure on a one-on-one offensive lineman. Are you kidding? Trent Brown, former Patriot, they let him go because he wasn't even really that good. He was asking for way too much money. He bounced around the league a little bit. So he went over to the Bengals. The Bengals didn't want him. Then the Texans picked him up, and he's done all right there. But, I mean, this is a really, really bad look from a team that was this close from making it to the Super Bowl yet again. Falling, of course, to the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, now they regressed massively.
Yeah, well, they have injuries, and they have to recover from those, and maybe they'll get on a roll here before the end of the season and roll into the playoffs on a high note. We'll have to wait and see.
I will say one thing. There was a 4th and 1. It was midway through the game. They decided to hand the ball off to James Cook and lose a couple yards. 4th and 1 with Josh Allen. What is he, 6'6", 250? Duck it and run. QB sneak it. Tush. They never get the tush push right. We said this last year when they were against the Chiefs. They never do the tush push right. You have the Ravens using Mark Andrews on the tush push. You have Jalen Hurts who has he squats 600 pounds or something like that, so he could push over offensive linemen. You're seeing tight ends and fullbacks and strong beefy quarterbacks do it. They got backup running backs pushing Josh Allen. You want to get some beefier guys to push them rather than like 200-pound guys. Get a couple 250, 260 guys in there, and maybe it'll work a little bit better. But like play calling like that, I mean, at that stage in the game, 4th and 1, and you want to hand the ball off when your offensive line hasn't done a good job at all in this game? Run blocking wasn't all that great.
No, I definitely think they should have tried the quarterback.
Play calling is just really lackluster. So, I mean, I think this was a missed opportunity for the Bills. This was a very winnable game. I mean, even with the defense playing as well as it did for the Texans, you were still only down by 4.
Could have won it on the last drive.
Exactly.
And threw the interception.
Exactly. So stuff like that. The Bills, they're 7-4. They should make the playoffs. I don't like the slip right now, but they should hold on to dear life.
I think they'll make the playoffs.
They play a couple, decently hard defenses coming up, so we'll see. I'm curious to see what this Bills team does next week. But they should still be in. I'll say that. Think about this for a second. Let's swap 2 teams. Let's say Jags make it. What if it's the Ravens? Ravens and Bills swap. The Bills and Chiefs would be out of the playoffs. And the Bengals, too.
No, the Bengals.
I'm just saying. Think about it. The 3 of the biggest quarterbacks in the NFL right now would be out of the playoffs. Burrow, who's banged up, but the Bengals will be out. Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback since he came into the league. And Josh Allen, the reigning MVP. Like, that's unlikely to happen. Technically, it is a possibility.
I don't think that'll happen.
I'm just saying. It would be interesting to see. All right, now let's get to our next topic here, because what did I tell you early on? We were talking about the best opportunity for this quarterback to start a game, and I said it's the Browns, because Joe Flacco was 40 years old. Dylan Gabriel, rookie quarterback, wasn't, touted to be this all-time great quarterback. And lo and behold, due to injury concerns and Joe Flacco currently not on the roster anymore, Shedeur Sanders is set to make his first start this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. He came in against the Baltimore Ravens after Dylan Gabriel went down with a concussion, completed 4 of 16 passes for 47 yards and an interception, got sacked twice, QBR of 2.4, scale of 0 to 100, and a passer rating of 13.5. Not a great start to your NFL career after, all this praise and the pre-draft and you should be going to the Giants and whatnot. Not a great start. Seems like, the scouts were right. He's looking like where he was drafted, 5th round pick.
I
you
think
come in, I'll let's get to the question, and then I'm sure you'll back up your take back then. So, what are your expectations for Shedeur Sanders against the Las Vegas Raiders this week?
I think you throw the performance against the Ravens out the window.
Wow.
I mean, he got in the game unexpectedly. He hadn't had any reps at all with the first team leading up to the game. So he wasn't expecting to get in there. Suddenly he's in there. And, he did poorly, admittedly. He was 4 for 16, 47 yards, an interception, a couple of sacks. So it was bad. And it was a game that he was in there a while. So if he'd played well, who knows? Maybe they would have won the game. But this is important for him, I think, getting this start. It's against a team that is perhaps a winnable situation for him. He has to play. I think he needs to play reasonably well. If he does, then he could be writing his own ticket here. He could be the starter for the Browns for some time to come here, and it's really up to him. And I think he'll be better prepared for this game. He'll have a whole week with the first team. He'll know what the scheme's going to be. He'll know who he's going to go to. He'll know what the play sequence is going to be, at least for the first 15 plays or so. He's going up against a less imposing defense than against the Browns, right? The Browns have Garrett, who is on pace to have the sack record. So I think it's a good setup. He couldn't ask really for a better team to start his first full game against. But there'll be some adversity for him. I mean, the Raiders have Max Crosby, and he's a threat. And he's going to be without Njoku, who is their tight end, and Thrash, another wide receiver. They aren't the starting pair, but they will be. They do play, and they'll be without those guys. So that's going to hurt him a little bit. I think that the offensive line also has issues. They could be without both tackles for this game, so that could hurt a lot. And I think they will rely heavily on the running game with Judkins to take pressure off Sanders. But he's going to be throwing the ball, and he needs to complete some passes. He needs to score some touchdowns. He needs to put in a credible performance and not turn the ball over. And it's going to be tough because in addition to all those things that will be adversarial to him, he's throwing to one of the worst receiver corps in the league.
Well, and this is what I hate. Again, it's the excuses that Shedeur gets. He didn't get first-team reps. Why would he? He was QB3 for the longest time. Hell, he was QB4 at one point. And technically, if you want to put him on the first ever depth chart, he was QB5. So I think we need to chill about the first team reps. If you're a backup or a third string, why are you getting first team reps in the first place? To me, that doesn't make any sense. To me, it's about you go out on the field, you always have to be ready, regardless of what kind of preparation you have. If you get drafted in the NFL as a quarterback, you should be able to know how to play quarterback. Baker Mayfield, hold on. Justin Fields didn't get first team reps when he had to come in for Tyrod Taylor's punctured lung against the Chiefs. Remember what he did? Almost beat the Chiefs in his first all-time start back. What was it? When it was September 20th of 2020. He completed 22 of 33 for 311 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So Baker Mayfield didn't have first team reps when he got his first ever start. So I think we need to chill about the first team reps thing because yes, normally it's good to be prepared, but you're a backup quarterback. You shouldn't be taking first team reps. You know why? You're not the starter. Here's what's crazy. Did Joe Flacco take first team reps this week when Joe Burrow came back? I'll give you the answer. No, he took it with the second team. If you're on scout team, why are you over there taking first team reps at all? That's what Shedeur was. Shedeur was working with the scout team. So respectfully, this is ridiculous. This is just another excuse. Oh, he didn't have first team reps. I don't think many quarterbacks who had the hype that he did, who had all the media praise that he did, that everyone was trying to defend him based on his film, I don't expect that quarterback to go out against a defense that this season, it's improved but isn't all that great, to look that scared, that non-composed, go 4 of 16, 47 yards and 1 pick. I expect something a little bit better, especially because the exact same rookie class went out there in his first ever career start overseas, not even on home soil, played pretty well against a very, very good Minnesota Vikings defense. And I think if it wasn't for, very conservative play calling by Kevin Stefanski, actually had an opportunity to win that game. So ultimately, that first team rep thing, and it was even pointed out, I was trying to find the source, a backup quarterback in the NFL even pointed out how that's completely BS. So to me, that's just another excuse. That's another excuse we put on Shedeur to try to justify another terrible performance. Here's what my analysis for this game is. My expectation is just don't lose the game. Don't put up another 4 of 16, 47-yard, 1 pick, no touchdown performance. Do not have single digits in QBR and have a lower QBR than if you were just kept throwing in the dirt over and over again, which is a 39.6. Just don't lose the game. If you have to hand it off 35, 40 times, go right ahead. I think under 25 attempts, this game should not be about Shedeur leads him to victory. It should be Shedeur, not carries the team, because that would be a terrible thing. Manages the game, sure. Has an efficient game. Looks decent. Doesn't look too bad. That should be the headline. Not Shedeur is forced to carry the team, because that falls on Stefanski. That falls on the offense. The offense should be handing off to Dylan Sampson and Judkins the whole time. That's what it should be. Dinking and dunking if you want to. To me, it doesn't really matter. But it should not be Shedeur Sanders, all this hype around him, the Baker Mayfield thing, kept throwing it to the best guy possible, the OBJ thing. It should not just be this big hype train, or we want to see Shedeur throw 35 times, see what the guy's got. No. This is a very bad defense you're up against. You're 3.5-point underdogs. I wish I got this bet in at 3, but I think just based on the fact that you have an insane defense with Myles Garrett projected to get 25.5 sacks this season, which would be 3 more than the record set by Michael Strahan, tied by TJ Watt. I mean, this game should not be about Shedeur. This game should be about this defense and a decent running game played against a really, really bad Las Vegas Raiders team that doesn't put up really any points, has a quarterback that can't stop turning the ball over. That's what the game should be about. And we can't put excuses, because let's just say Shedeur plays terribly. That's a terrible thing
then
for Shedeur.
I will be much more critical of him if that is the case. But he will have had a full week of practice with the first team, and I think that will help him in this game. I think getting thrown into this game when he wasn't even expecting it. I agree. The backup quarterback needs to be ready, but how can he get ready if he doesn't have the reps with the best players? It's tough to get ready.
Though.
You
doesn't
have your
matter
reps
if
with
you're
with
Shedeur Sanders,
with the scout team.
if you're Tyrod
Taylor, it doesn't matter.
If you're Joe Flacco.
That's true, but sometimes those guys get lucky when they come in and they perform well in a backup situation, and they step in and they weren't expecting it. And
so
in
is
Joe
Shedeur
Flacco's
unlucky?
case, in Joe Flacco's case, he's a veteran, a long-term veteran. So he has much more experience. Shedeur Sanders hadn't taken a snap in the NFL. Right? So
neither did Baker Mayfield back in 2018. Neither did Justin Herbert back in 2020.
Baker Mayfield came in. He played okay. He wasn't
Okay, what about Justin Herbert? He knew literally an hour before the game, because Tyrod Taylor's lung collapsed after an injection, that he's going to play against what ultimately ended up being one of the greatest teams that we've ever seen of that Kansas City Chiefs. What about that one?
Well, Justin Herbert is turned out to be a very good quarterback.
That's what people thought Shedeur was.
So, we'll find out. We'll find out if Shedeur Sanders bombs again in this game, and they get him out there. They'll probably get. I mean, that's a very small sample, so he'll probably get another chance. He continues to bomb out, then he won't be a NFL quarterback.
Stefanski already said as soon as Dillon Gabriel's healthy, he's sending him back out there, because that's what it should be. There was actually some very back channel reporting that Kevin Stefanski may have told some of his staff that this is a redshirt year for Shedeur, meaning he never was going to get any playing time at all. He was going to sit the entire year. Now, how true is that after trading away Joe Flacco and literally creating an opportunity for him to start?
Okay, well, if he manages the game well and they win, then I think he'll be back out there. If he goes out there and slings it and has a great game, then he'll definitely be back out there. I don't think that. I'm surprised Stefanski would say that. Why would he say that? Because
Dillon Gabriel's the starting quarterback, just like how they're not going to replace Davis Mills over C.J. Stroud.
I wouldn't say anything. I'd say Shedeur Sanders is starting this week. I wouldn't say, well, when Dillon Gabriel gets better, then he's going to immediately be back out there. I wouldn't say that.
Well, head coaches always say that for their starting quarterbacks.
Maybe it's
Kyle
assumed.
Shanahan said that about Brock Purdy this year.
Yeah.
We're hearing that about Davis Mills and C.J. Stroud. Mac Jones was leading the league in yards per game and attempts per game and completions per game. First time Brock Purdy was out there, boom.
I guarantee you, if Mac Jones had bombed his games and was playing much terrible, Brock Purdy would have been back sooner. He would have been back at least a game sooner.
Brock Purdy didn't believe that. He told media one bad turn and he gets a setback. And based on Kyle Shanahan's eagerness to put him back out there after Mac played beautifully, I don't think I could believe that.
Well, we'll see what happens.
We will, absolutely. All right, coming up, Week 12 is right here. We were already in it, technically, after Thursday night's game. So we'll make all of our picks for Week 12. I hate the point spreads this week. Either too high or don't make any sense in my mind.
It's tough picks.
Also, that includes also the Harvey Hot Hand, so I'll make those picks as well. But yeah, we'll do all of that right after this short break.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Friday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic of today's show, which is every single week throughout the NFL season, we make our picks. So let's get right into it. Every single game, every single week. With the first one here. So obviously, last night's game, it was a bit rough. I did pick the Buffalo Bills to win. I thought the Houston Texans would cover. They ultimately didn't. The Bills didn't cover. I picked the Texans. So I get, 1 in the point spread. I get 0-1 in the win-loss. So let's go to Sunday's game. This is the big one, I think. The biggest game. The one that I think has the most meaning for playoff chances. For the Colts, they're still holding on to the number 1 seed. The Chiefs, they're still trying to get into the playoffs. They're the number 9 seed right now. That's a bit rough. So in this one, I'm taking the upset, though, just because I think the Colts are the better team. And I said this weeks ago. I said going into this game, if you win the coin toss, you're taking the football. Because what you want to do is you want to drain as much clock as you possibly can. Hand it to Jonathan Taylor, have him run, and keep Daniel Jones out of harm's way. If you could keep Daniel Jones upright, he could cook with an Alec Pierce, a Tyler Warren, a Michael Pittman Jr. Let him do what he does. Try to keep that pocket healthy. And I think ultimately that's what they can do. I will take this upset. I've been on the Colts all year. I've loved this team so much. I've bet on them constantly. I just think, the win overseas was a bit rough to watch, but they did get the win. I think this will be similar. The Chiefs just don't look like themselves. They look like a very slow and old version of last year. So I think that's a bad recipe. So I think, give me the Colts, and especially if this is close. Chiefs are 0-5 in close games. So add on top of the fact you're getting the best offense with the most efficient offense, with the best running back, with, a top 5 quarterback still based on the statistics in the NFL for Daniel Jones. Give me the Colts in a big upset in Arrowhead. All right, let's go to the next one. Vikings at the Packers. I absolutely hate the Packers. They are probably one of the most fraudulent teams this season in the NFL, but I got to take them over statistically the worst quarterback in the league, which is J.J. McCarthy, who has had two good quarters. You can't have that if he's your future guy. I mean, he has been really, really bad in 99% of these quarters, 99% of these games. He has moments where he has a big completion here, but overall his performance is very, very lackluster. And I think the Packers team, the offensive line for the Vikings is a little bit banged up. Micah Parsons, he does a great job hurrying the quarterback. I'd like to see him get a sack or two maybe. That'd be great to see. I'll take the Packers. I actually really hate this bet, but I just think Jordan Love, they got to figure something out. They're on this weird little, I don't know, this situation, which I don't love. Lost to the Eagles last week. There was no offense the entire game, basically. They got to turn things around. Jalen Reed is taking some snaps in practice, so maybe he'll be back for this game. Giving the Packers to win and cover the -6.5 point spread. The next one, is Joe Burrow back? Does it matter? To me, probably not. Now, this point spread has moved to -7. I'll still take the -7. I do think the Patriots will win. They're 5-0 on the road, straight up and against the spread here. So, for me, this is a relatively easy pick, especially going against the worst defense in the NFL. I think Drake May will have an absolute field day. Plus, you're getting Kayshon Boutte back, your best deep ball receiver on your team, which is crazy to think. Stephon Diggs, I mean, he looks about 85% of the true Stephon Diggs that we've seen in the past. He's done a great job. He's been a great fit. Ramondre Stevenson's also coming back for this game. I want Travion Henderson to still be the number one back. He probably won't be. But I just think ultimately Henderson has definitely deserved it. I just think that this Patriots team, the defense has been great, stopping the run. They're number one against the run. Patriots team's really good. Mike Vrabel has something going. This looks like a team that's sort of Dan Campbell-ish in the way that everybody is buying in. Everybody truly believes that they can win football games, and that's a big testament to Mike Vrabel and his ability to coach up the New England Patriots, who, by the way, they surpassed their win total over the prior 2 seasons combined. That's how bad this Patriots team was, and they turned things around. So give me the Patriots in a big-time victory over the Bengals on the road. All right, the next one, Giants at Lions. Simple thing here. Point spread, that's just based on, the Lions, they're angry. They lost the big-time game last week, and Lions don't lose back-to-back games since October 30th of 2022. It just doesn't happen. So give me the Lions here in a big-time victory. Jameis played it nice against the fraudulent Green Bay Packers. So I just think ultimately that was a facade. You get into the one game with Mike Kafka making his first, start as an interim head coach. I think all of that right now is fugazi. So I'm going to take the Detroit Lions here in a dominant victory at Ford Field. Give me a big-time win for the Lions at home over the Giants. All right, next one, Jets at Ravens. Tyrod Taylor's getting the start for this one. Justin Fields has been officially benched, which means that the offense will move down the field, but also means the likelihood of an interception does, in fact, increase. I think that this Ravens team last week going up against a really good Browns defense, Lamar was a bit off. Lamar had he's been really good at moments, and then he's looked a little bit shaky at some since coming back. I think that, against the Jets defense, that Brandon Stevens is the number one cornerback. It's a revenge spot for both Stevens and the Baltimore Ravens. Stevens, their number 2 cornerback last year, and the Ravens, I think they're just going to cook. Derrick Henry's going to torch this Jets defense, and I think Lamar Jackson will be instrumental on the football field. Give me the Ravens, in a big-time victory over the New York Jets. All right, Steelers at Bears. This is actually my second least favorite pick because I'm not sure how I feel about Rodgers' wrist injury. I'm not sure. And besides the Bears, do I trust them? Do I believe them? Report came out that, a GM, an NFL GM, doesn't believe that Johnson and Williams are that good of a connection. I kind of agree with that. You look at the frustration of Ben Johnson after a wonky play by Williams, and you're seeing him shaking his head. It doesn't look great, but I will take the hot team over a team that is more shaky and dealing with an injury. I understand Mason Rudolph, came out big once Rodgers went down, but ultimately I'm going to take the hot team, the fiery team. Give me the Chicago Bears, -2.5 at home. All right, next one, the Seahawks at the Titans. The Titans are the worst team in the NFL. I mean, they're really, really bad. So I know Sam Darnold, he had several opportunities to beat the Rams. He threw 4 interceptions. That's a bit rough. However, the Titans are just the worst team in the NFL. So I got to take the better team the Seahawks just faced a really bad team in the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, and they were up, 28-0 against them? So if you have another opportunity against a Titans team that turns the ball over a lot and a defense that loves to take the ball away, I'm taking the Seahawks all the way. Give me the Seahawks in a big-time victory. They also cover another 13.5-point spread on the road in Tennessee. All right, next one. That one is the Browns at the Raiders. Give me the Browns to cover this point spread. It's crazy to think, but I do think the defenses will Shedeur's offensive ability against a really bad Raiders defense, that doesn't bode well for the Browns to do anything offensively, and the Browns defense against Geno Smith, who can't stop turning the ball over, that's not a great matchup for Geno Smith and the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'll take the Browns to cover. It'll be a very, very low-scoring game. Raiders do get the win, though. The Browns do cover the +3.5 points, but I love that 3.5. It's a great hook play. Give me the 3.5. All right, next one, Jaguars at Cardinals. Will Johnson, he's questionable for this game. Marvin Harrison still dealing with his appendicitis. I'm taking the Jaguars in a big-time victory here. Jacoby Brissett, I think, just set the record for the most completions ever in NFL history in a singular game. To me, that's great, but you still got blown out last week, and the Jaguars are coming off a monster win over the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm thinking you also look at the injury report. A number of offensive linemen are questionable or doubtful or out for this game. So I'm taking the Jaguars, big-time victory. They continue their streak because, remember, the Chiefs are that close to surpassing them. They want to hold on to that playoff spot. Also, the Texans are extremely close, too. So they want to hold on to that playoff spot. They got to create some momentum here. They got to keep winning games, and I do think they will against a not great Cardinals team who also is down its number one running back after all the injuries in DeMarcado. Bam Knight and Michael Carter will be the running back 1 and 2. That's not a great situation if you're the Cardinals. So give me the Jaguars to cover the -2.5 and win in Arizona. All right, let's go. Falcons at Saints. Michael Penix, partial ACL tear. That's rough. Again, the injuries that we were worried about going into this draft with Michael Penix, they're starting to show once again here. So give me the Saints here. Tyler Shuck, he's had his moments. He outplayed Bryce Young, and then Bryce Young throws for 450. So I think it's pretty interesting, but I do think Tyler Shuck and this Saints team will be able to get it done. All you got to do, because Kirk Cousins hasn't looked great when he's out there trying to sling the ball. Plus, you're down Drake London. It's going to be an ugly, ugly offensive performance, I think, for Kirk Cousins and the passing offense. So all the Saints got to do is stack the box, make sure Bijan Robinson doesn't get around you or through you, and you'll probably end up winning this game. This point spread is really just a pick-em game. I'll take the Saints in a victory here. The Falcons, they can't get anything right. Nothing is really going their way. Bijan is hot, and Bijan is very cold at times. So give me the Saints. Tyler Shuck leads them to victory. And Alvin Kamara may have another great yardage performance. So Saints get the victory against the Falcons. All right, next one, Eagles at Cowboys. Remember opening day, 7.5 point spread. All of a sudden, the Eagles, they're right down there. If CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop a pass, the Cowboys may have actually upset the Eagles. Well, take a look at this one. 3.5 point spread on the road in Dallas. A.J. Brown still talking, as he always does every single week. I think that this is going to be another great opportunity for Hurts and A.J. Brown and this offense to try to figure out what the hell they are. What's their identity? Are we going to be a passing team? Are we a balanced offense? Are we a run-first team? They're passing it a lot this season. So I think that it'll be interesting to see what exactly Patullo pulls out against a bad Dallas Cowboys defense that is improving. It's getting healthier. They got Overshown out there again. They have Williams. They got Logan Wilson. They have some pieces that haven't looked too bad in their first start. Last week, they did a great job. But I think that this Eagles team on paper has too much firepower. And I think that they'll be able to get the big-time win. They need this win to maintain their place in the NFC race because, some of these teams, like the Seahawks and like the Rams, they're on fire right now. So giving the Eagles 3.5, they cover in Dallas. All right, Sunday Night Football, Buccaneers at the Rams. Rams, big-time victory over the Seahawks. That was a statement win for them, coming away only to win by 2 after Sam Darnold's 4 turnovers. Not a great overall performance, but they won, which is the big key here. The Buccaneers, they got absolutely slammed by the Buffalo Bills, allowed Josh Allen 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. First time since the 1950s that's happened in a game. So not a great look. You're probably going to get Chris Godwin back, but Bucky Irving will be out for this game. To me, the Rams are just way, way too strong on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. I think Baker Mayfield will be under duress constantly in this game. I don't think he'll be able to use his legs that much to extend plays. I think his completion percentage will be relatively low. I think Matt Stafford continues his streak of touchdowns with no interceptions. Give me the Rams in a big-time win. They cover the 6.5 on Sunday Night Football and get the win. And finally, Monday Night Football, Panthers at 49ers. I'm going to say this. I wonder how you'll feel about it. Why do I feel this is a trap game? I just get that feeling. Bryce Young, 448 yards last week, played really well against a Niners team. Brock Purdy's back. He has a pretty nice performance. Everything's looking good. I don't love this play, but I am going to take the 49ers because they are the better team. They're the better coach team. They're the better disciplined team. They have better, offensive play calling and defensive play calling. They have CMC and George Kittle and Ricky Pearsall's back. We're still trying to figure out if Brandon Ayuk will ever show up in the regular season, which it looks like probably not. So I think ultimately the 49ers are the play here, but I just get a weird feeling Bryce Young is going to do something weird. Or Rico Dowdle and have another 200-yard game or something like that. But I will take the Niners to win and cover the minus 7.5 points. But those are my picks for Week 12.
Interesting picks.
Yeah. I had to switch it up a little bit because I'm trying to close in. You're up on 6 games to me on the win-loss.
Actually, overall, you're doing pretty well on the spread. Right?
Yeah.
86, 76, and 2.
Yeah. It's just, win-loss, you're up by 4, I believe. So... Yeah. I got to try to pull back.
You have me at 78, 85, and 1. How can that be? How can you have 2 ties and I have 1?
Because the Packers game, I got my bet in at minus 7. The point spread ended up being minus 7.5. That's also how the Harvey Hot Hand was 4-0-1 because I bet the Packers at minus 7. So I got to push.
I don't get that benefit, huh?
No. Because I bet early in the week. We do this on a Friday. So technically, you'll see in the Harvey Hot Hand, I actually have a very nice Lions spread. Well,
I'm still beating you in
you still are.
Straight up.
You still are.
Yeah, and just before we get into my picks,
sure.
The trap game scenario with the Panthers and the 49ers, possibly. I mean, if the Panthers could ever put a game together where Bryce Young plays well and the running game is well, then they could beat maybe anybody. But I think
that's a bit much.
I think the key for them is you can't let them be close at the end because when they're close at the end, they generally win. So I'm picking the 49ers as well. And I don't think that the Panthers are going to play that well in San Francisco, but I'll get into more details in a few minutes. Okay, going to my picks.
Real quick, though, we have some maybe breaking news on Brandon Ayuk, just as I was talking about him.
Oh, really?
From Diana Rossini. Let's get into a main screen here. According to Diana Rossini, after Brandon Ayuk failed to attend meetings and declined to participate in 49ers team activities, sources say the team has responded by voiding all of his guaranteed money for his contract in 2026, assuring that the absences amounted to a failure to fulfill his contractual obligation.
All right.
So he lost a bunch of guaranteed money.
That's crazy.
For not showing up.
Why would he do that? I mean, that's just stupid.
I don't know.
That's stupid.
Came in from Diana Rossini 12 minutes ago.
Interesting.
All right, let's get to your picks.
Okay, into my picks. I was wrong last night. I thought the Bills would win and cover, and they didn't. Moving on to the Colts and the Chiefs. This is a must-win game for the Chiefs at home. They got to have this one. Teams that start 5-6 only make the playoffs 15% of the time. They can't let that happen. If they're 6-5, generally the 44% chance of making the playoffs. They want to be in that situation. Big question for the Colts in my mind is Indiana Jones turning back the clock to be Danny Dimes. His last 2 games, 4 interceptions, 6 fumbles, 3 lost. 12 sacks taken. The Colts are going to lean on Taylor, but the Chiefs are only allowing 60 yards per game in the last 3 of 4 games. That's 3.3 yards per carry, which is the best in the NFL. They're going to try to stop Jonathan Taylor and make Danny Dimes beat them. And I'm a fan of the Colts as well. But I think the Chiefs at home, with their backs to the wall, they're not going to lose this game. Moving on, Vikings, Packers. I like the Packers, but I don't think they'll cover. I don't know why they keep giving the Packers these big point spreads when they play down to their competition. The Vikings' quarterback issues are a major problem for them. McCarthy's last in completion percentage at 53%. His TD to interception ratio is 6-8. That's the worst in the NFL. His next to last in yards per game at 168. 35% completion percentage on third down is the worst as well. So I can't picture him improving that much against Micah Parsons and the Packers defense. So I think it's going to be a long day for the Vikings. The Packers play down to their competition. That's why I don't have them covering the point spread. Josh Jacobs may not play. He's got a knee injury. If the Vikings defense plays well, it could be a close game. And I think it will be close because I don't think the Packers are going to cover 6.5, but I do think they'll win. The Patriots and the Bengals. This could be interesting because Joe Burrow was going to start this game. The Bengals have, we don't know for sure. So they might as well throw him out there. I mean, this is it. I mean, they've lost 7 games. They've got to win out now if they have any hope to make the playoffs, and they probably won't win with Joe Flacco out there against the Patriots with their defense. So the Bengals have the 32nd ranked defense, the worst in the league, giving up 33 points per game and 418 yards per game. That's terrible. Chase is suspended for this game, so he's not going to play. Burrow may start, but the Pats have the number 1 run defense, the number 5 scoring defense, and the number 8 total defense. That's going to be tough for Burrow to start out after he's been out and is going to be rusty to go up against them. They also have a top 10 offense with all the weapons healthy. Stevenson and Booty are back, as you mentioned, and that gives them the deep threat with Booty. So I like the Patriots, and I think they cover. Moving on to the Giants and the Lions. I like the Lions and the Lions to cover. The Lions generally annihilate their opponent after a loss and rarely lose back-to-back games, and they're playing at home. I don't think it's going to matter that much whether it's Dart or Winston at quarterback for the Giants. The Giants give up 5.9 yards per play on defense and 27 points per game. The Lions have the top 5 units on both sides of the ball. The 6-4, I think, reflects a difficult schedule for the Lions, and I think they're down the stretch here. They're going to win most of their games, so they'll be in good position for the playoffs. So give me the Lions in this game and cover the pretty big point spread. Jets at Ravens. Lamar has 106.7 passer rating against Aaron Glenn defenses, so I think that's a pretty telling statistic, and I do think the Ravens are going to win, but 13.5 point spread when the Jets defense has been pretty good actually in the last few weeks. I think rushing and play action will be effective against the Jets. I don't think the Jets have the playmakers to keep up with Lamar. So, and they're starting Tyrod Taylor again. I don't know why they keep benching Fields. It's not his fault. And Tyrod Taylor puts the ball in harm's way almost every one of his deep throws. So I expect to see a number of interceptions, but I do think the Jets defense is good enough to stop a 13.5 point spread. So I like the Ravens, but not to cover. Okay, moving on to the Steelers and the Bears. I like the Bears in this game. Aaron Rodgers is questionable, but this game will probably be decided by other factors. The Bears have improved their running game a lot, while the Steelers have had difficulty recently stopping the run. Caleb Williams should be able to exploit the NFL's worst-ranked pass defense. Did you see that Kyle Duggar had a pick 6 last week? Yeah. The Bears find a way to win close games, winning 7 of 8 7 of the last 8, and 5 of those games where they were behind in the last 2 minutes, and they still pulled them out. So they're the cardiac Bears. They need this win before going against the Eagles and the Packers in the next 2 games. So give me the Bears and the 2.5 points. Seahawks at Titans. It's a big point spread in this one, 13.5. I don't think the Seahawks cover it because the Titans are playing better, but not well enough to beat the Seahawks, who are coming off a loss to the Rams. The Seahawks are better in every phase of the game. They have a top 3 scoring defense versus the Titans' bottom 3 defense. The receiving yards leader, Njigba, versus the Titans' pass defense that's allowing the 3rd most yards per game to a leading receiver. The Titans' worst total and scoring offense against the Seahawks defense that allowed only 17.6 points per game over the past 5 games. Cam Ward, 56.4 passer rating when pressured against the Seahawks, who have the best pressure rate. So I like the Seahawks to win, but I don't think they cover that big point spread. 13.5 points. The Titans at home. They've been more competitive recently, and McCoy seems to have their defense playing better. So I think the Seahawks will win, but not cover. Browns, the Raiders. We talked a lot about Sanders making his first NFL start. It's been 30 years since a rookie quarterback has won his first start as a Brown. It was Eric Zaire back in 1995. Since then, they're 0-17. So can Shedeur break that skid? I'm not so sure. He was ineffective in relief of Dylan Gabriel last week, 4-16, 47 yards and an interception. Cleveland has a porous offensive line, second worst pressure rate, 42.5. That's going to be tough on Shedeur. Sanders holds the ball too long is an issue. Garrett has 11 sacks in his last 4 games, is on pace to break the record. I think this looks to be an ugly turnover-filled game with the Raiders winning and covering the point spread. Jaguars at Cardinals. I like the Jaguars in this game and to cover. The Cardinals have gone from being competitive in every game to getting blown out by the Seattle 44-24 and the 49ers 41-22 in the last 2 weeks. The Jaguars offense since week 8 has 31.3 points per game. That's 4th best in the league. They have improved in the red zone. They've improved on 3rd down, and they've improved in the running game. So the Jags are on the upswing here. The Cardinals have given up 40 points in 2 straight games. Cardinals offense is without Harrison, who had his appendix out. And you mentioned DeMarcado. Well, he isn't going to play either. They're running back. The wild card in my mind in this game is Trevor Lawrence and his erratic decision-making. If he can keep his head and not make stupid mistakes, then I do think the Jags are going to win this one. Falcons at Saints. I'm picking the Falcons, and it's hard for me to do because I don't think the Falcons are a very good team. But the Falcons have lost, and they've lost 5 straight and are without Penix in London for this game. The defense ranks 30th in yards per game since week 6. The Saints are coming off a win against Carolina on the road, and they just coming off their bye as well. But Bijan Robinson takes over this one, I think. And Tyler Shuck has multiple turnovers. That's what I think is going to happen. Bijan Robinson against the Saints in his last 4 appearances, it's over 100, I think 118 yards per game average. And I think they're going to hand the ball off to him a lot. I think Kirk Cousins also emerges from the darkness to have a reasonably good game. And this will be an upset of the Saints. The Falcons finally winning a game. Eagles at Cowboys. I like the Eagles in this one. The Cowboys defense looked better since the trade deadline acquisitions, but it was against the Raiders. So they're 0-4-1 against teams with a 500 or better record. The Eagles are 8-2 and have shut down 2 of the league's most potent offenses the last 2 weeks. However, they've lost Lane Johnson on one of their offensive linemen to injury, which is an issue since the offense has scored a total of 26 points in the last 2 games. That's not too good. I think if Dak Prescott can exploit any mistakes made by the Eagles defense they have a chance to win, but I don't think it's going to happen. I like the Eagles and the 3 points. Bucs and the Rams. I think the Rams are my favorite to get to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. The 6.5 point spread against the Bucs, I'll take it. The Bucs, they're playing at home as well. The Bucs are still missing some playmakers, and the Baker Mayfield's early season magic seems to have disappeared. Stafford at home will be too much for the Bucs. And the Panthers at the 49ers. The 49ers seem to have found new energy with the return of Brock Purdy. 41 punts, throttling the Cardinals last week. The Panthers have the worst point differential, minus 42 of any team with a winning record. They only convert on third down 37% of the time. That's 24th in the league. 49ers defense lacks Warner and Bosa, which is really unfortunate given how good their defense has played even without those guys. If they had them, I think they'd probably have the best defense in the league. But I think it's still good enough to beat the Panthers. Those are my picks.
All right, well, there we go. It's interesting. Falcons pick is an interesting one. You're backing Kirk Cousins without Drake London.
Kirk Cousins is
Drake London.
Well, I think they're going to hand the ball off to Robinson a lot. He has good luck against the Saints. You missed that one, maybe. We'll see. I bet
Kirk Cousins 0-6 in his last 6 starts.
I think Bijan Robinson, he could have a really big game in this one.
Also, the Titans plus 13.5.
They're playing at home,
So they're 1-9.
The Seahawks, how about Darnold's performance last week? 4 interceptions, huh? He can be hot and cold.
That happens. Exactly. If he's really cold now, I think Mike McDonald's going to put a little fire on it to heat him up a little bit. Because, they had opportunities to beat the Rams, and they just they fell a little bit short.
Yeah.
All right, it's now that time. It's my favorite topic that we do here on the Harvey Hour. It's the Harvey Hot Hand. For those who don't know what the Harvey Hot Hand is, it is where I pick 5, maybe 6, maybe 7, however many teams I want to do for that week, and I bet on them. And I tell you which teams that I'm betting on so you can come and join me. We're 38, 30, and 1. Which is 55.8% on the year so far. We made a lot of money back, actually. Currently, last week, we didn't really have a show, but I still made the picks. I went 4-0-1. We had a great week. A lot of really, really good, favorable point spreads there. So let's jump in. Let's start with the Harvey Hot Hand. This is my first pick for Week 12's edition of the Harvey Hot Hand.
Jaguars at Cardinals.
Give me the Jaguars here, minus 2.5 here. Jacksonville, big time win over the Los Angeles Chargers. DeMarcado's going to be out for the Cardinals here, as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. He'll be out for this game. And I think that's where really this team is going to have to focus on Wilson, Trey McBride, and also try to run the football with Bam Knight and also Michael Carter. I don't love that. And also, this is probably the most shocking statistic I found while researching which teams to bet on. The Cardinals are a terrible, terrible home team. They're 1-4 straight up and 1-4 against the spread while at home. Are you kidding me? How are you a worse home team than a road team? That's very interesting for me, though. Jacksonville, 9th in EPA per play allowed. I think ultimately, the Cardinals are just a really, really bad team. They're 25th in points allowed, 21st in total defense, and 21st in turnovers. This is a very, very bad team that Jacoby Brissett has had his moments. He looked really good. Is he coming back down to earth now? There's a lot of injuries. Will Johnson, if he's out, the defense passing game-wise is really, really going to suffer based on the numbers. So I'll take the Jaguars here to cover a very, very close one. They win 24-21. They cover the 2.5-point spread. The next one.
Giants at Lions.
Give me this one, the big point spread here. Give me the Lions. This is minus 10.5. I got this very early on in the week here because I just thought it makes no sense why, the Lions lost, but it's the New York Giants with Jameis Winston. And the Lions are at home. So I got this at 10.5. I'll still take it at 12.5 because, think about this. Since 2023, Lions after a loss, they're 10-0 straight up, 10-0 against the spread. They average 15.8 points point differential per game. Goff is 25-4 touchdown to interception ratio after these games, and they haven't lost back-to-back games since October 30th of 2022. Jameis completed, a couple really nice throws, but also let's state the obvious here. There were probably 4 to 5 interceptions he could have had if the Packers just held on to the football here. So given the Lions to cover I bet the minus 10.5. I would still take the 12.5. They win 33-20 against the Giants at home. Let's go to the next one.
Seahawks at Titans.
Another big one. Give me the Seahawks to cover the 13.5 over the Tennessee Titans. I understand. Yeah, Sam Darnold just threw 4 interceptions. It's a rough game. However, it's against the Los Angeles Rams defense. It seems like the Rams defense just has his number. Remember last year, Vikings-Rams, what did the Rams do? Just absolutely obliterate him in his own backfield. The offensive line couldn't hold up, and they just assaulted him with 9 sacks in the playoffs. It was a rough game for Sam Darnold, so maybe he sees ghosts when he plays the Los Angeles Rams. But I think ultimately, though, we have to be honest here. Tennessee is the worst team in the NFL, and I don't think it's particularly close. Right now, you're looking at it, Cam Ward has the 10th worst QBR of all time. Of all time. And if you look at raw QBR, it's the 5th worst of all time. But don't worry, last year's Will Levis is worse than him. So at least he has that over his predecessor. So I'll say this. The Tennessee Titans defense, they don't really have a defense. Cam Ward looks a little bit better. They still have no running game. Their offensive line isn't that great. The Seahawks, what do? They capitalize on turnovers. What do the Titans do? They turn the ball over. So if the Seahawks are going to create takeaways, they could create scores. I don't think this is going to be a particularly close game. I don't think Cam Ward's going to be able to do much against a really, really good Seahawks defense. And I think that the JSN Sam Darnold connection, that'll be on fire in this game. Give me Seahawks 28, Titans 14. Seahawks cover a 13.5 point spread. The next one, this is going to shock you.
Browns at Raiders.
Give me the Browns plus 3.5. I'm betting them because this game to me, this is setting up to be just one of those games. Rookie quarterback comes in. You don't have a lot of tape on him. They figure something out. Everyone's complaining about he doesn't have first team reps. Well, now he does. So the excuses for that out the window immediately. You can't give that, oh, he only had 1 week of first team reps. He may only have 1 week of starting in the NFL. Who the hell knows? I don't, but that excuse can't be used anymore. I just think ultimately all Shedeur has to do is not lose the game. He doesn't even need to play particularly well. He could play bad. You can't just play losing football. You can't look scared. You can't look nervous. You can't look so scared and you have like Scooby-Doo shaggy legs and running all over the place like a headless chicken. You have to stay somewhat composed in the pocket. You have to make a couple good throws. This game shouldn't be about you because based on the number I'm giving it, it ain't going to be about you. It's going to be about your really good defense and Myles Garrett on pace to break the sack record. That's what it should be about because this matchup doesn't bode well for you. In fact, you have 4 of the 5 worst tackles in the NFL. So it's not great. Your team is not good. You're not, primed for success. And I hate the rumors about Kevin Stefanski sabotaging you. The Browns are not a good team. It could be Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Tom Brady. It ain't going to happen. Nobody's succeeding at very high levels on this Cleveland Browns team. So you're going to lose. I'll take the Raiders to win this game 17-14. However, the Browns cover the 3.5 point spread. And finally, the last one, I had a very, very difficult time with just some of these point spreads. But for this one,
Patriots at Bengals.
the point spread did move, but I will take the Patriots regardless to cover the 7 point spread here. The Pats are 5-0 against the spread on the road here. And right now it looks like Flacco's banged up a little bit. Could it be Joe Burrow? Could it be Joe Flacco? I'm not sure. Does it really matter? Not really, because I think this Patriots team is right now playing out of its mind. People complain about, strength of schedule, yada, yada, yada. Well, this should be a breeze then, because the Bengals are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They have the worst defense in the NFL. Think about this. They're 32nd in rush defense. They're 31st in passing defense, 32nd in total defense, 32nd in points allowed. I just think ultimately this is going to be a great game for Drake May to excel in. You have Kayshon Boutte back, who's your deep ball threat. You have Ramondre Stevenson back, who's your RB1, although I still think Travion Henderson should be your primary running back. I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for a wonderfully rebuilt Mike Vrabel-led Patriots team to absolutely dominate on the big stage here. And I think ultimately the Patriots will get a big-time victory. They're still up for the 1 seed, which is pretty incredible from where they were just 1 season ago. 1 year turnaround. That shows just how great of a coach Mike Vrabel is. And I'm pretty sure the Titans are kicking themselves. Why did we fire such a tremendous coach for literally no reason? He was winning. He was winning. He made it to the playoffs and was the number 1 seed in the AFC during his tenure. So it's a bad firing. The Patriots were able to acquire him, and he's been an absolutely incredible coach for him. So give me the Patriots to cover the -7 point spread. They win 28-20, and those are my Week 12 Harvey Hot Hand picks. Now, as always, you like to critique and tell me which other games you
I
would
agree.
replace.
It's hard to pick this week. Some of these games have such large point spreads, like the Lions and the Giants, right? 12.5 points.
I'll
I mean,
take
generally
that.
the Lions annihilate after a loss. So I think they will, and I think they probably cover. But I can understand why you wouldn't pick that one.
Well, I did pick that one.
Oh, you had that one.
Yeah.
It was on there. Okay. So
that was my, I think, second one.
Yeah. And you had it at 10.5.
Right, because I bet it early in the week. I would still bet the 12.5.
Yeah, okay.
I just already put my bet
Yeah.
in, so I don't have to.
The other one, the last one you have is the
That was the Bengals
and the
Patriots.
Patriots. Maybe the Rams against the Bucs there. The Rams, to me, the Rams are the best team.
I was thinking about that, but that's 7-point spread. They would need to win by 7.
I have 6.5.
Well, they would need to win by 7 to cover. So,
Yeah,
do I trust them to do that against the Bucs?
I think so.
They were my 6th team. I'll
see.
say that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
That should be fun. All right. First show back. It was a relatively quick one. We didn't get to 8 o'clock. We got about an hour in, so it's always good. All right. We thank you for the constant support as always. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to get updated and notified whenever we go live, whenever we upload a video. We'll you'll see some clips up there. Shedeur clip will be up there tomorrow, along with a couple of shorts. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned. Tuesday we'll be back. We'll be here. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We have been your hosts of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Good night, Grandpa.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.